feature presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Wealth Management Advisory Club meeting. So this is the start of the final week of Mega Month here at WMA Club. For those of you who are probably wondering what is Mega Month, so the origins of that actually started out back in mid-February when we decided that we were going to have 2 weeks of jam-packed events for WMA Club. And we decided that on a third week, which basically would be our Spring Break Workshop Spectacular. We then would call it the Mega Weeks. And then we added 2 more because we're having a lot more events. So we decided to just rename it a Mega Month for the whole entire month of March. And we've co-hosted some events, we've hosted some meetings, and we had some awesome experiences we brought in. For example, we brought in Witham, we brought in HSBC from last week. And for co-hosting events, we co-hosted the FDU Mid Students Day event yesterday, and I really do appreciate all of you incoming freshmen who came up to me and talked to me about joining the WMA Club. I'm super excited to see you guys in the fall. But yeah, so to kick off the final week of our Mega Month here at WMA Club, we decided to touch on a topic that really isn't touched on that often. And I actually want to take a gander at it. And I decided, why not we host our own workshop about real estate? So yes, this is going to be a workshop, and it's going to be a real estate workshop. So you guys are ready. I know I'm most certainly ready. Let's get this party started, baby. Happy Monday to everybody. Hope everyone a happy, good week. And by the way, if you do receive an email from me, basically, actually from the club, we did forward you guys off the HSBC opportunity. So please go apply for those internships. Please do. I know Pat Wire did send an email out to all of you guys regarding that. But again, we did forward them off to you guys. Again, just to reiterate that please sign up for those internships or apply for them. So without any further ado, let us begin. So we got a lot to cover here. So we're going to talk about what is real estate, why is it important. We're going to talk about the history of real estate, the types of real estate that are out there, the investment strategies, the market trends, the factors that affect the real estate market, the real estate financing options. We'll talk about real estate appraisals, inspections, title and closing. Also about real estate taxes. I think we might have talked about it during our taxes, preparing your tax planning workshop. I think we talked about it a little bit, but I'll go heavily in depth on how the real estate taxes work. Real estate marketing. Yes, there is actually marketing in real estate. The real estate market and its professionals. And then we're going to break down the 2 most popular ones, the real estate agents and the real estate brokers, the career paths to go down in real estate, the education and training, the law and the regulations, the technology that goes behind real estate sustainability, which is including in our ESG, environmental, social, and governance. If you think about it like that, kind of put those 2 together. The trends, the future outlook, the opportunities that are there in real estate, some resources I'll give you guys, and then we'll finally wrap it up with a conclusion at the end like we always do. And by the way, you will receive a copy of this next week when we do our weekly emails. So you will get a link to basically view this workshop anytime you want. And obviously you can have it do whatever you want with it. But again, it won't be on view mode because again, we worked our butts off on this. So, all right. So let's first talk about what is real estate. So real estate refers to any property that includes lands and the buildings, structures, and natural resources that are attached to it. This can include residential homes, commercial buildings, industrial spaces, and undeveloped land. Now, I might have given you guys the answer to what are types of real estate, but I didn't give you the entire answer to that yet. And I'll explain that a little bit. So why should we even care about real estate? Well, real estate comes down to a couple of things. Because of employment. Real estate creates jobs in many different sectors. This is construction, architecture, engineering, property management, and sales. The real estate industry employs millions of people worldwide. Investment. Real estate is often seen as a stable and profitable investment opportunity. It provides individuals and businesses with opportunities to build wealth and generate passive income through property ownership, rental income, and property appreciation. The economic growth. Real estate development and construction can stimulate economic growth in local and regional economies. Building new homes, commercial properties, and infrastructure can create jobs and attract businesses, which can boost economic activity and prosperity. The tax revenues. Real estate generates significant tax revenues for governments at all levels. Property taxes, sales taxes on home purchases, and taxes on rental income and capital gains all contribute to government budget. And then finally, housing. Real estate provides housing for individuals and families, which is a basic human need in life. Access to safe, affordable housing is critical for social and economic stability. All right, so we're going to talk about the history of real estate. So I've actually gotten 3 versions of this. One of them got off a website, one of them from Investopedia, and another one from Wikipedia. And we're going to give you all those iterations of the history of real estate. And they sort of intertwine with each other, but I wanted to explain them all because I thought they were very interesting to talk about. So again, putting on my history hat here, we have to go down, take a trip back in our time machine to go all the way back. If you think if real estate started around like the 1800s, you are actually wrong. We have to go way back to 334 BC. Alexander the Great acquires real estate by force after defeating the Persians. So if anyone knows world history, if you know that, that's basically the start of real estate. And I did include this infographic timeline of what the timeline looks like. For some reason, I couldn't get it on one whole page. I had to take screenshots of it. So I think you get the picture of like which one goes where. So in 1066, William the Conqueror defeats the Normans and declares possession in England. And obviously, there's the first sold sign. There's Alexander the Great, the world's first investor. So he's actually the world's first investor in anything like stocks, bonds, real estate. He's the first one. Then we go way to 1783 as Napoleon starts his real estate empire by acquiring Egypt, Belgium, Holland, Italy, Australia, Germany, Poland, and Spain. Funny enough, I actually am German and I am also Italian. So I thought it'd be kind of pretty fun just to, learn about that. So then in 1803, the United States acquires 828,000 square miles of new land in Louisiana Purchase. And everyone should know that by now. You probably learned that in your middle school world history class, or maybe in high school you learn it. I think I learned it in 8th grade, I remember. If anyone was in my class that didn't remember that, pack something back for that. So then we go to 1855. Baird Warner is formed and now is the oldest real estate brokerage in the nation. Then in 1867, the U.S. acquires a frozen chunk of land from Russia in the Alaska Purchase. Then in 1889, the Oklahoma land rush was when 50,000 people rushed to claim lots of land up to 16 acres in size. I think it was 16 acres in size. 160 acres in size. I don't know. I have my speaker notes here, and as I was trying to put them up together, I spelled them wrong, so I do apologize. 260 acres in size. Then in 1916, the term realtor is coined by the National Association of Real Estate, so the NARE. Heck, if you drop the D in dare, you put an N in there, and that spells National Association of Real Estate. Like, I love my acronyms. I love it. So then in 1929, as obviously everyone knows this by now, the Great Depression happens, coinciding with the collapse of the real estate market. Then in 1934, the National Housing Act creates the FHA, which is the Federal National, that's not the same thing. I'm sorry. Then in 1938, the Federal National Mortgage Association, now Fannie Mae, is started by the federal government. Then in the 1960s, the National Association of Real Estate Boards creates a national MLS system. And no, we're not talking about the soccer league MLS in the United States. No, we're talking about MLS, the multiple listings services. Obviously, if you do not know if that's the same thing, please don't get those confused. Then in 1970, Congress charters Freddie Mac and the second loan market. Then in 1994, internet property listings become available for the first time ever. In 1999, internet lead generation introduced to the real estate. In the 2000s, or probably 2000, the internet boom happened. So IGX feeds implement for real estate websites. In 2005, Google introduced Google Maps, which soon becomes a powerful tool in internet realty. Then in 2007, the housing bubble burst, triggering financial crisis in the United States, which then led to the financial crisis of 2008. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about that yet, but we might talk about that in one of our next workshops. You never know. Anything can happen. As I'm trying to move down my slides here. My notes. Then in 2009, real estate phone apps become a highly popular everyday sales tool. Then in 2014, after several years, the housing market shows signs of normalizing. And in 2016, mortgage rates are expected to increase along with the average cost of renting. So that's the Cliff Notes version of it. Now we're going to give you guys the Investopedia version of what real estate is. So staking claims. So many arrogant systems progressed in a very similar fashion. Fertile plains were staked out and settled in might make rights matter, for which those who defend the land were ones who kept it. Eventually, a system of tribal leaders developed, and those who had the approval of the tribe would disperse land, settle disputes, and require payment from all their subjects. The shift towards more and more powerful tribal leaders culminated in the pool of laboring, along with the chief executive officer or CEO of sorts, to direct efforts. Irrigation channels were dug, strongholds were built, farming methods improved, and temples were erected. With the land improvement, populations exploded. Now, where a family of hunter-gatherers might be able to support 1 or 2 children at best, farmers could produce several children. The increased fertility also meant greater numbers of unavailable laborers. And by the way, I did include on the previous slide a link to all this for the Investopedia one where I got all my data from. So again, you guys want to look at that, I would suggest you should. Please do. So we now go to the original protection racket. So hunters-gatherers also follow a tribal system, but scarcity and the uncertainty of life meant that a tribe could only support 2 or 3 extended families. The enormous farmers, however, soon found that they could not name everyone in their tribe anymore. In return for the sacrifice of familiarity, people living in small societies gained the safety of numbers. A well-fed army easily repelled any desperate raiders. In return for the security, the people all paid homage to the lord or king who claimed ownership of the land. This is essentially the first system of rent. Yeah, mind blowing that you actually were thinking about this, that, you know, hunters and gatherers actually played a part in the development of real estate. I know. It's kind of shocking to me as well. As these farming villages grew into cities, the leading families maintained ownership by right of lineage. Their ancestors were the ones who clubbed all the other challengers senseless, thus becoming kings, pharaohs, daimios, I hope I pronounced that right, and sundry heads of other feudal dynasties. And just as a fun fact, the Louisiana Purchase was the first major real estate transaction made by the United States, as the French sold the state of Louisiana to the United States in 1803. Just to point that out there. So all hail the king, yes. So this system of labor for protection developed into 2 separate systems in most countries, Texas and Tennessee. Royal families spread their wealth to friends, signing away titles and deeds to lands that allowed the holders to collect the revenues or rent produced by the peasants lived there. On top of this rent, all people within a ruler's realm will generally require to pay a tax. Many other demands were made by the ruling leaders, such as military service, and these demands were grudgingly met because these rulers owned the land not only by birthright, but by military might as well. Rulers could be overthrown by other rulers, sometimes by peasants. At times, a new ruler would sit on the throne, and the average peasant would rarely notice a difference. But it wasn't all bad news for peasants. No. They were able to trade with other kingdoms, and the general level of wealth increased, giving rise to merchant class as well as specialized laborers or tradesmen who were able to earn a living through skills other than farming. This in turn resulted in a non-arrogant shops and houses that still paid rent and taxes to the various lords or kings, but were bought and sold and rented amongst the common folks rather than by the royal class. Richer merchants became the first common-born landlords, gaining wealth and status. These merchants didn't own the land, but they owned the houses on it. And now, yep, from when we all hail the king is dead. Yeah. So many aristocracies were eventually disputed, usually via displacement of the aristocrat heads of the body. This was done by punitive bureaucracies or systems in which the truly best and brightest led a nation for the good of all. What happened instead was the creation of politics. Again, we never want to deal with that in life. Honestly, I always have to deal with that. But I tend to never get into politics or drama, ever. Title lands were broken into smaller parcels and sold on a free market of sorts. But the people with the money to buy the deeds were either merchants or former aristocrats who managed to escape being shorted by revolutionary Pharaoh. I'm pronouncing that right. Peasants have yet to make much progress from the original farming tribesmen of 30,000 years prior. The Homestead Act of 1862 was signed by President Abraham Lincoln and allowed Americans to purchase and settle 160-acre plots of western U.S. land. About 4 million claims were laid as a result of this law, and the act was repealed in 1976. So we now move on to the age of machines. So the Industrial Revolution was one of the greatest equalizers of human history, perhaps only matched by the invention of firearms. The effects of the industry were neither negative nor positive, but basically were neutral, and it also depended on application. The use of machines for manual labor freed many peasants for the different tasks and allowed a privileged few the time for education and specialization into a new fields of labor opened up by the merchandization of industry. Cobbers, seamstresses, and cabinet makers found that they were once invaluable skills were now obsolete, leaving them to return to the land and the coal mines beneath them to try to eke out a living. People with ambition were able to jump classes and bring some of their low-class sensibilities with them, leading to track houses for laborers and a range of products aimed at the lower classes. People were now divided into the middle class, and blue collar, and white collar. Obviously, I think I remember this back in high school when I learned world history. It was low class, medium class, and high class. I don't know if anyone remember that, but if you did learn it that way, put in the comment section below this meeting. And a handful of other social categories. They owned houses, cars, and eventually radios and TVs, which suggests what other things they might want to own. And then finally, magic mortgages. Yes, there is no such thing as magic mortgages. There is no such thing as that. That's what we called it. The invention of mortgages belonged to no particular country. Mortgages existed for a long time as exclusive loans given only to the nobility. After the Industrial Revolution, however, the wealth of the world increased to the point where banks opened themselves to higher risk mortgage loans, those made to common people. There's a lot of individuals that own their homes and, if they so desire, become landlords themselves. It took them 30,000 years. But home ownership is now open to almost everyone. In fact, it reached the point where people often buy too much or take too much of a mortgage. The freedom to own something can be a healy brew. So it's important to practice moderation. Assuming too much debt by way of a mortgage can help you lose a house as likely as it will help you to own one. And we all know about debt. Go watch our previous workshops about debt management, because trust me, it can help you out with this. All right, so now the Wikipedia version of the history of real estate. Okay. So the beginning. The natural right of a person to own property as a concept can be seen as having the roots in Roman law as well as Greek philosophy. The profession of appraisal can be seen at the beginning in England during the 1500s as agricultural needs required land clearing and land preparation. Textbooks on the subject of surveying began to be written, and the term surveying was used in England, while the term appraising was more used in North America, or at the time, the United States, present day. Natural law, which can be seen as a universal law, was discussed among writers of the 15th and 16th centuries as it pertained to property theory and the interstate relations dealing with the foreign investments and the protection of citizens' private property abroad. Natural law can be seen as having an influence in Emmerich de Vattel 1758's Law of Nations, which conceptualized the idea of private property. Then through the 1803 to 1916, this basically happened. What are the largest initial real estate deals in the history? We already talked about this, right? But the Louisiana Purchase was signed. This treaty paved the way for Western expansion and made the U.S. the owners of the Louisiana Territory, as the land was bought from France for $15 million, making each acre roughly 4 cents. The oldest real estate brokerage firm was established in 1855 in Chicago, Illinois, and was initially known as L.D. Olmsted & Co., but it was now known as Barrett, Bard, and Warner. In 1908, the National Association of Realtors was founded in Chicago, and in 1916, the name was changed to the National Association of Real Estate Boards, the NAREB. And this was also when the term realtor was coined to identify real estate professionals. So from 1929 to 1939, we already talked about this already, but I'll talk about it again. The stock market crash happened. The Great Depression happened, which caused a major drop in real estate worth and prices, and ultimately resulted in the depreciation of 50% for the 4 years after 1929. Housing finances in the United States were greatly affected by the Banking Act of 1933 and the National Housing Act in 1934 because it allowed for mortgage insurance for home buyers. And this system was implemented by the Federal Deposit Insurers, the FDI, as well as the Federal Housing Administration, the FHA. In 1938, an amendment was made to the National Housing Act, NHA, and Fannie Mae. A government agency was established to serve as a secondary market for mortgages and to give lenders more money in order for new homes to be funded. So from then 1968 to present day, Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act in the United States, which is also known as the Fair Housing Act, was put into place in 1968 and dealt with the incorporation of African Americans into neighborhoods as the issues of discrimination were analyzed with renting, buying, and financing of homes. And internet real estate as a concept began with the first appearance of real estate platforms on the World Wide Web and occurred in 1999, or basically Y2K when, the internet. All right, so now enough with the history. Now, take off that history hat there. Let's now talk about the types of real estate. And there are a couple of them. We have residential, commercial, industrial, raw land, special use, mixed use, vacant land. Yes, there's actually vacant land real estate, and metaverse real estate. Yes, most of us members here at WMA Club will probably know of 2 of them, or most likely 5 of them. I'll say, because me as an accounting manager, I do know all these because I do have to know this. But the one that actually caught my eye a little bit was actually the metaverse real estate, because I never thought you could actually own virtual land and that could be considered as real estate. But in this workshop, we're going to go over each and every single one of these in depth and give you guys an insight to what these are all about. So let's not talk about residential real estate. So you got a residential area. So residential real estate is property, both land and buildings used for housing. This is a contrast to commercial or industrial real estate, where the land and buildings are zoned for operating a business, such as a store, office, or factory. And there are types of residential properties, such as single-family homes, townhouses, condominiums, apartments, vacation homes. Now, each type of these has its own advantages and disadvantages in terms of ownership, maintenance, and the investment potential. So please do your research on these. All right, so there are some factors that affect resident real estate, and there are probably the 4 we're probably going to talk about the most, and I probably repeat myself a couple times over, but again, I apologize. Let's start talking about location first, which is proximity to schools, employment centers, amenities, and public transportation. Demographics, which, based, for example, could be population growth, aging population, household formation rates. Also, economic conditions could play a factor in, like, for example, the interest rates, which have been going up a lot, the employment rates, and consumer confidence. And then finally, government policies, which they can include tax incentives, zoning laws, and housing regulations. By the way, I forgot to include this one on here, but I will update on the slides I sent to you guys on Sunday. Environmental factors such as climate, natural disasters, and pollution. Now, let's talk about the difference between advantages of buying and renting a home. So the advantages of buying a home are very simple. You're building equity, you have tax benefits, you have control over living space, and you have potential for appreciation. On the other side of that coin, with renting, you have flexibility, you have less responsibility for maintenance and repairs, and you have lower upfront costs. And there are some factors to consider when deciding between buying and rent, which is your financial situation, your long-term plan, your lifestyle, and the local housing market that you guys are in. And we also are going to talk about homeowner benefits and the challenges of them. So the benefits of home ownership: you're building equity, stable house costs, tax benefits, and the pride of ownership. And the challenges of those are the upfront costs, the ongoing maintenance and repairs, the property taxes and insurance, and the potential for loss of value. And then home renovations and improvement trends. So obviously, there are some popular home renovation projects. You probably see them on HGTV if you ever have Verizon. I know my parents watch it sometimes, but I kind of watch it. Like if it's like late at night, I'll probably watch one episode, maybe like home renovation, like kitchen and bathroom upgrades, outdoor living spaces, energy efficient upgrades, home improvement trends such as open floor plans, smart home technology, sustainable materials, which we'll talk about probably talk about 2 out of those 3 in just a little bit. And the benefits of home renovation: increased property value, improving functionality, comfort, and reflecting personal style and preferences. All right, commercial real estate. I think this one should be very easy to understand what this is. But commercial real estate, or CRE, is property used exclusively for business-related purposes or to provide a workspace rather than a living space, which can instead constitute residential real estate. More often, commercial real estate is leased to tenants to conduct income-generated activities. This broad category of real estate can include everything from a single storefront to a huge shopping center, or like the American Dream Mall here in New Jersey we have. That is considered commercial real estate as an example. So the types of commercial properties: office buildings, retail spaces, industrial buildings, hospitality and lodging properties, and multifamily apartment buildings. So basically those complex of like housing and like the Marriott. That's an example of like types of commercial properties. Now, again, there are some factors that do play into this, and I'm basically going to talk about a couple of them in depth. Actually, all of these are basically the same, and they basically the same factors will feature to every single real estate you go into. So basically, residential and commercial, basically the same factors. But I will talk about lease versus purchase options. So the advantages of leasing is basically simply have flexibility, lower upfront costs, and the less responsibility for maintenance and repairs. And the advantages of purchasing, though, you're building equity, you have potential for appreciation, and you have control over the property itself. And the factors when considering deciding when you either lease the property or purchase it, the financial situation, your long-term plans, and your local market conditions, obviously. And there are some office, retail, and industrial space trends. So office space trends based on open floor plans, like we talked about earlier, co-working spaces, and green building practices. The green building practice basically is in reference to ESG. Obviously, environmental, social, and governance, if you think about it. The retail space trending, online to offline integration, experimental retail, and pop-up shops. So if you see those pop-up shops that these influencers have been doing, that is considered retail space, which is then also considered commercial real estate, if you think about it like that. And then industrial space trends, which is e-commerce and logistics demands, so basically all those like e-commerce stores like Wix and Shopify. That is an example of industrial space and also considered a commercial real estate. Think about it. Automation, technology, and sustainability. And there are commercial real estate financing options, which there are traditional and there are alternatives. So the traditional ones are commercial mortgages, mezzanine financing, and bridge loans. While on the other hand, with the alternate financing options, which are crowdfunding, REITs, real estate investment trusts, and private equity. And obviously, I will talk about majority, I think, crowdfunding and real estate and REITs in just a little bit. And there are some factors considered when choosing a financing option, which are interest rates, the loan terms, and the lender's requirements and their track record. All right, industrial real estate in the industry, if you think about it like that. All right, so industrial real estate refers to properties that are used for industrial purposes, such as, for example, manufacturing plants, warehouses, distribution centers. So, for example, if you guys know about those Amazon distribution centers, they've been popping up all over the U.S., that is considered an example of industrial real estate. And the types of industrial properties are manufacturing facilities, distribution centers, warehouses, research and development facilities, and flex spaces. And the market trends inside industrial real estate is influenced by a variety of factors, such as, example, economic conditions, logistics, and supply chain demands, and technological advancements. Trends in real estate marketing can affect the value and demand for industrial properties. And let's actually talk about location accessibility. So industrial properties need to be located in areas that provide easy access to transportation, such as highways, railroads, and ports. They also be located near suppliers, customers, and labor pool. I think I know in my town, anyone lives in my town that I actually graduated high school in, they actually set like a distribution center type of thing right near my old high school. So that actually be a good place for location accessibility in a way. Kind of put those two together there. So building specifications. Industrial properties require specific building specifications, such as high ceiling, large loading docks, and heavy-duty flooring. The building specifications depend on the specific industrial use. And then the tenant type. So industrial tenants can include manufacturing companies, logistic companies, e-commerce companies, and research development firms. The tenant type affects the building specification and the investment potential. And overall, industrial real estate is an important and dynamic aspect of the real estate industry. It has significant implications for businesses, investors, and the economy as a whole. All right. So let's talk about the other ones that you guys really don't even know about. Raw land, obviously. So raw land is very simple. It refers to undeveloped and unimproved land that does not have any structures or building lines. So basically, it's just, flat out land. Think about it. And the types of them: agricultural land, recreational, timberland, and no, not the Singer timberland, the type of land timberland, if you get what I mean, and residential land. But please do not get that confused with residential real estate. Please do not get that confused with that, because they are not the same thing. So location accessibility. So location of raw land is a critical factor in its value and potential uses. The land should be easily accessible by roads, utilities, and other infrastructure. It should also be in a desirable location, such as, for example, schools, parks, or national attractions. So like, for example, like I know off the top of my head, I know, oh man, I actually did myself a while back here. I went to Six Flags, I think when I was like 7 or 8, and they had like a huge part of land like right next by that they weren't using. That is an example of raw land. So let's now talk about zoning and the land use regulations. So raw land is subject to zoning and land use regulations set by local and state authorities. These regulations determine the allowable uses of the land, such as residential, commercial, or industrial uses. And the development potential for various uses such as residential, commercial, industrial, or agricultural purposes. The development potential is determined by the zoning regulations and the availability of the utilities and the infrastructure. And the investment potential, it can be a long-term investment that offers potential returns through appreciation, development, or other uses such as farming or timber productions. All right, so special use real estate. So yes, there's two types of use real estate. There's special and there's mixed. I'll start with the first one, which is special. So special use real estate refers to the properties that are designed for specific uses, such as schools, hospitals, places of worship, government buildings, and prisons. So for example, FDU. That is an example of special use real estate. See, look, I those in together there. And the unique characteristics of it are specific to their intended use, such as large parking for hospitals, classrooms for schools, and security features for government buildings. Like, for example, like in a classroom that I'm in right now at FDU, that is a unique characteristics of a special use real estate. So again, they also have the old location and zoning, and special use properties need to be located in areas that are appropriate for the specific use and may require specific zoning approvals or variances for local governments. And the investment potential can have different investment potentials than traditional real estate and may require different financing and management strategies. And the lease terms. So special use properties often have unique lease terms that reflect their specific use, such as long-term leases for schools or hospitals, and government leases that may have different terms than private sector leases. And the tenant types, they usually are typically occupied by specific tenant types, such as government agencies, nonprofit organizations, or religious institutions. The tenant types can affect the investment potential and management of the property. So for example, like a synagogue or a church, that basically would be in a type of tenant type for a special use real estate. All right, mixed use real estate. So I was going through my research and doing this, and I saw mixed use. I'm like, wait, what is mixed use real estate? Because there's only, special use. So I'm going to explain to you. So mixed use real estate refers to properties that are designed for multiple uses, such as building that includes both residential and commercial spaces. Basically, it's a combination of residential real estate and commercial real estate as an example, and combine them together, if you think about it. Like, I use my example for IMA when I talk about accounting and finance majors, match them together, best of both worlds. Get that joke. So the types of mixed use properties are residential apartments, retail spaces, office buildings, hotels, and entertainment venues. Like for entertainment venues, for example, that would probably be MetLife Stadium. That is considered an entertainment venue. It actually would be considered a mixed use property. And specific mix of uses depends on the needs of the local market. And the benefits of those, they can provide several, including convenience for residents who live near amenities, walkable neighborhoods, reduced traffic congestion, and increased economic activity. And the investment potential, it can provide attractive investment opportunities due to their potential for higher returns and the ability to diversify risk across multiple uses. And there are some designing and planning considerations that do go into effect, and they do require careful designing and planning to ensure that the various uses are integrated effectively and efficiently. Design considerations may be included building height, traffic flow, parking, and accessibility. And then we have zoning and regulatory considerations. So basically, they may require special zoning and regulation approvals to ensure that they are consistent with local planning and zoning laws. All right, vacant land. Get it? Nothing else but just one thing on that land. It's just vacant. I really don't think I have to explain myself on this one, but I will. Anyway, so vacant land refers to undeveloped land that has not been built on or used for any specific purpose. So anything that has not been touched, not been used for anything, that is considered vacant land. So the types of vacant land, you have agricultural land, raw land, and infill lots. And the investment potential on these vacant lands can provide attractive investment opportunities for investors who are willing to take on the risks and challenges developing the land. Potential uses for vacant land includes residential, commercial development, agricultural, conservation, and recreation. And location and zoning, they do play an important factor in determining the investment potential of vacant lands. And properties that are located in areas with high growth potential and favorable zoning laws may have a higher investment potential. And also there are environmental factors in place, such as soil quality, water availability, and natural hazards that can also affect the potential uses and investment value of the vacant land. And then we have finance development considerations, and they can be challenging. They may require significant upfront costs, infrastructure improvements, and regulatory approvals. All right, so the one I think most people are interested about, metaverse real estate, or simply virtual real estate. I think it's probably seen it all over social media. You probably got a YouTube ad popped up on your screen, and probably it's like, oh, I'm able to sell you guys, virtual real estate. That's basically what they're trying to do here. So, metaverse real estate refers to the virtual real estate that exists within the metaverse. So, obviously, if you guys have an Oculus or Facebook that was actually changed to Meta, that is basically what this is, the metaverse. So, basically, anything that is not in real life, which is a shared virtual space where users can interact with each other and digital objects. And the virtual property. So they do include metaverse real estate. It does include virtual properties, such as virtual land, buildings, and objects that are created and owned by users within the metaverse. And users can purchase and own virtual properties within the metaverse, giving them control on how the property is used and developed. And the investment potential, metaverse real estate can provide investment opportunities for investors who are interested in the growing virtual economy. Virtual properties can appreciate in value, on demand, and scarcity similar to physical real estate. So obviously for the old time folks, no offense, you probably would not want to invest in it, but for anyone who's young, like me, who's 21, I might want to invest in it. Might want to take a lot of risk. And then we have digital asset management. So metaverse real estate requires that, includes security and authentication measures to protect the ownership and the value of the virtual properties. And there are legal considerations within the metaverse, which is still evolving to this day. And there are many legal considerations around intellectual property rights, ownership, and taxes. Overall, metaverse real estate is a growing and innovative aspect of real estate industry as more people engage in virtual worlds and digital economies. While there's unique challenges and considerations about metaverse real estate, it provides new opportunities for investment, creativity, and community building. All right, so now we talked about the types of real estate. Let's talk about real estate investment strategies. So there are 6 of them, which I will cover all of them right now. So the first one, which is buy and hold. I think I might have talked about this already with investing in stocks, but actually it does apply to real estate. So this strategy involves purchasing a property within the intention of holding it for the long term, usually for several years or more. Investors use this strategy to build equity, generate rental income, and take advantage of potential appreciation in the property's value over time. Flipping. Obviously, you see those shows in HGTV, basically flipping a house and turning it for a profit. And that is basically what that is. But the more formal definition of it is basically this strategy involves buying a property with the intention of renovating it and selling it for a profit in a relatively short amount of time. Flippers use this strategy to take advantage of the undervalued property or properties in need of repair. Renting. Obviously, you guys all rent as college students. You guys pay rent, obviously, if you do. This strategy involves purchasing a property and renting it out to tenants for a steady stream of rental income. Investors use this strategy to generate passive income, build equity, and potentially benefit from property appreciation over time. REITs. Yes, you can actually invest in REITs. And just want to throw this plug out there. Come to Student Managed Investment Fund every Tuesday from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Bloomberg Lab, on the Forum campus, in the Moniker Center, and at Dickinson Hall in the Metro campus. We're hosted by FDU alumni Rich Brenner and John Budish. And heck, you may never know, we might invest in REITs in Student Managed Investment Fund. So able to tie that in there on this one. Yes. So REITs, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, which stands for Real Estate Investment Trust, are companies that own, manage, and finance income-producing real estate properties. Investors can buy shares in a REIT, which provides exposure to real estate investments without directly owning the property itself. And then there's crowdfunding. Obviously, you heard of crowdfunding for investing in companies. You can actually do that in real estate. Crowdfunding involves pooling money from multiple investors to fund a real estate project or property. This strategy allows investors to participate in real estate investment with lower minimal investments and potentially higher returns than in traditional investment options. And then finally, rental properties. Purchasing a property and renting it out to tenants to generate rental income, obviously. So how does real estate investing work? So I'm going to break this down for you very, very simply. Real estate investing works by generating income from rental properties or profits from buying and selling properties. It requires a significant investment upfront as well as ongoing expenses such as property taxes, maintenance costs, and mortgage payments. However, the potential for generating a steady stream of passive income or realize significant profits can make it a lucrative investment opportunity. And why do people even invest in real estate? Well, one, for diversification. Real estate investing can be a way to diversify an investment portfolio and reduce overall risk. Wish we actually invested in REITs and student managed investment fund. Hope we actually do one day. Hopefully, when the market gets better, we might do that. So passive income. Rental properties can generate a steady stream of passive income for investors. Also, capital appreciation. Real estate values can appreciate over time, allowing investors to realize significant profits when they sell their property. And then tax benefits. So real estate investors may be eligible for tax benefits such as deductions for mortgage interest, property taxes, and depreciation. So let's talk about now the real estate market trends. And there are a lot of them. And we're just going to talk about probably the most 5 known to everyone. The national and local market trends. So the real estate market is influenced by the national and local trends. National trends, which I talked about earlier, which include interest rate, economic growth, and demographic change. Well, local trends basically include supply and demand, zoning regulations, and employment rates. Emerging real estate markets are locations that have experiencing growth and development and present investment opportunities. Emerging markets can include secondary or tertiary cities, areas with improving infrastructure and regions experiencing demographic shifts. And the factors affecting the real estate market, which I already talked about already, so I'm not going to really go over it again, just not to bore you guys out. So skipping on over the next one, housing affordability changes. Housing affordability is a major issue in many markets, especially in urban areas with high housing costs and limited supply. Factors affecting housing affordability include income levels, interest rates, zoning laws, and construction costs. And then finally, foreign investment in real estate. Yes, investing overseas, as they're saying. Foreign investment in real estate can have a significant impact on local markets, especially in areas with high demand and limited supply. Factors that attract foreign investment include political stability, economic growth, and attractive property prices. So now I'm going to talk about go more in depth with the factors affecting the real estate market. Yes, I really want to touch it on this one because it actually was our next one. So, oops, sorry. All right. So we did talk about all these in depth, obviously with the economic growth, but let's talk about these all in depth because why not? So economic factors. So the real estate market is closely tied to the broader economy, including factors such as interest rates, inflation, employment rates, and the GDP growth, the gross domestic product growth. These factors influence demand for properties and the ability for individuals to obtain financing for the real estate purchases. There's also demographic factors such as population growth, migration patterns, and aging can affect the real estate market. For example, a growing population can increase demand for housing, while an aging population may shift demands towards retirement homes and assisted living facilities. Government policies and regulations can have a significant impact on the real estate market. Policies such as tax incentives, zoning laws, and rent control can affect the supply and demand for properties, as well as the affordability of housing. Environmental factors. I think this is very easy because it's just, the environment. But to explain it, can be such as natural disasters, climate change, and pollution, which can affect the value and demand for properties. For example, areas that are prone to natural disasters such as floods or hurricanes may experience low demand for real estate. And then technological advancements, such as online real estate listings or metaverse real estate. And virtual tours can impact the real estate market by changing how properties are marketed and sold. Other technological advances such as smart home technology and sustainable building materials can also influence properties' value and demand. All right, the real estate financing options. Let's talk about that now. So there are 5 types of loans you could take out to get started your real estate financing journey. So we're going to go over all of these. First off, the mortgage loans. Mortgage loans are a type of financing used to purchase a property. These loans are typically offered by banks and other financial institutions, and the property serves as collateral for the loan. Mortgage loans can be fixed or adjustable rate and can have a variety of repayment terms. Then there's home equity loans. This allows homeowners to borrow against the equity they have in their homes. These loans are typically used for home renovations or other expenses and are secured by the property. Interest rates on the home equity loans are typically lower than the other types of loans. Then we have bridge loans. So bridge loans are a short-term loans used to bridge a gap between two transactions, such as, for example, buying a new property before selling an existing one. Bridge loans typically have a higher interest rate than other types of loans, but provide temporary financing until a long-term solution can be found. And there are two types of money loans. There's hard and private. Hard money loans are typically used by real estate investors and are secured by the property. These loans have higher interest rates and shorter repayment terms than traditional loans, but are designed for short-term use. And then private money loans are the type of financing offered by private individuals or companies. And these loans are typically used for real estate investments that have more flexible terms than traditional loans. All right, so let's now talk about real estate appraisals. So real estate appraisals are the process of determining the fair market value, or the FMV, of a property. The appraisal is conducted by a licensed and certified appraiser who evaluates various factors, including the property's location, the condition of it, the size, and comparable properties in the area. So how does real estate appraisals even work? Well, I showed the short term for a bit, but now I'll go to the extended version of it. The appraisal is typically ordered by the lender or buyer during the purchase or refinancing of a property to ensure that the property is worth the asking price or the loan amount. Appraisals are also used for property tax assessments, insurance policies, and estate planning. During the appraisal process, the appraiser will visit the property and take measures and photos. They will also review public records such as property deeds and tax records, and research recent sales of comparable properties in the area. Based on this information, the appraiser will create a report detailing the value of the property. And why are they important? Well, real estate appraisals are important because they provide an objective valuation of the property's value. They help ensure the buyer and lenders are not paying more than the property is worth. Appraisals also help protect the lender's investment in the property and can be used to negotiate a fair price for the property. Additionally, appraisals are required by law for certain types of real estate transactions, such as those involving government-backed loans. So, and there are, skipped over there for a second. Let's not talk about real estate inspections. Yes, there are such things as inspecting your real estate. So real estate inspections are examination of a property's condition and systems by a licensed inspector. The inspection is usually performed at the request of the buyer or seller of the property, and it helps them identify any potential issues or hazards in the property. So, you know, we have like a restaurant has like an inspection check that basically does apply to your own house as well. So how does a real estate inspection work? So during a real estate inspection, the inspector will examine the property's exterior and interior, including the roof, walls, foundation, electrical, plumbing, heating, and cooling, and whatever you name it, he's going to go over it. He or she will go over it, obviously. They will look for any defects or damage and assess the overall condition of the property. The inspection report will detail any issues found during the inspection, including photos and recommendations for repair or replacement. This report is used to help buyers and sellers make informed decisions about the property. And why is it important? Well, real estate inspections are important because they help identify potential problems with the property before a purchase is made. Buyers could use the inspection report to negotiate repairs or ask for a lower purchase price. Inspection can also help ensure that the property is safe and up to code, which protects the buyer and any future occupants of the property. For sellers, inspections can help identify issues before listing the property, allowing them to make repairs and increase the value of the property. Inspection can also help sellers identify potential issues that may be needed to disclose to the buyers. And overall, real estate inspections are an important part of the buying and selling process. They can help ensure that property is a sound investment. So now real estate title and closing. Yes, there is such thing as this title and closing. So real estate title is a legal document that provides ownership of a property. When a property is purchased, the title is transferred from the seller to the buyer. A title search is usually conducted during the purchasing process to ensure that the title is clear of any liens or claims against the property. And what happens during closing then? Well, closing is the final step in the real estate transaction. And during closing, the buyer and seller sign all necessary documents, including the deed, the mortgage, and any other contracts related to the sale. The buyer typically pays the closing costs, which includes fees for the loan, title search, appraisal, and other costs associated with the sale. The closing process typically takes place in a title company with both the buyer and the seller present, along with the respective attorneys, real estate agents, and any other parties involved in the transaction. The title company oversees the transfer of funds, ensuring that all parties receive the appropriate payment. And why is real estate title and closing important? Well, basically, the importance of real estate title and closing lies in the fact that they ensures a clear transfer of ownership and protect both the buyer and the seller's interest. A clear title assures that there are no disputes over ownership and that the buyer can take possession of the property without any legal issues arising. Closing costs can be significant, and it is important for buyers to understand these costs before finalizing the sale. Working with a trusted real estate agent and attorney can help ensure that the closing process goes smoothly and that both parties are satisfied with the outcome. And in summary, the real estate title closing process is critical to the success of a real estate transaction, and it ensures that a clear transfer of ownership protects the interests of both parties and provides a final step in the buying and selling process. So let's now talk about real estate taxes. Yes, I know we have to talk about taxes now, but we're going to get through it. Don't worry. All right. So real estate taxes are taxes levied by the government entities or on real property, such as land and building. And there are types of real estate taxes, which we did talk about a couple of these during our tax planning workshop. Property taxes, which are levied by the government, local governments, and are based on assets, the assessed value of a property. They're typically used to fund local services such as schools, police, and fire departments, and infrastructure projects. Then we have transfer taxes. These are taxes imposed by the state or local governments on the transfer of real property from one owner to another. They're typically based on the sale price of the property and can be significant. We also have capital gains taxes, which are taxes on the profits from the sale of the real property. They are based on the difference between the sale price and the purchase price of the property and can be reduced by any capital improvements made to the property. And then we have estate taxes, which are taxes imposed on the transfer of the deceased person's property to their heirs. They are based on the value of which on the property at the time of the owner's death and can be reduced by various deductions and exemptions. Now, how are real estate taxes even calculated? Well, real estate taxes are calculated in different ways depending on the type of tax you are given. Property taxes are typically based on the assessed value of the property, which is determined by local government officials based on the property's location, size, and condition. Transfer taxes are typically a percentage of the sales price of the property, while capital gains taxes are based on the difference between the sales price and the purchase price of the property. And why do real estate taxes matter? Well, because they have a significant impact on the cost of owning and selling real property. Property taxes in particular can be a significant expense for property owners and can vary widely depending on the location and the values of the property. Transfer taxes and capital gains taxes can also have a significant impact on the cost of buying and selling real property. And again, you have to pay your taxes. So again, just pay them. So let's talk about real estate marketing. So yes, there is marketing in real estate, but not the way you think it would be. So there are traditional marketing methods, such as printing advertisements, signage, direct mail, and open houses, which basically, signs out there on like the property, like an open house sign. That's basically considered an example of traditional marketing methods. These methods have been used in the industry for many years and are still effective for reaching local audiences. And then you have digital marketing methods, which I think everyone probably knows what that is, which is basically everything online, which would be online listings, social media, email marketing, and pay-per-click advertising, or PPC. These methods are becoming increasingly popular as more buyers and renters turn to the internet to find properties. And the importance of online presence is critical for the real estate marketing, as it allows properties to be listed and viewed by potential buyers and renters worldwide. An effective online presence includes a professional website, online listings, social media profiles, and search engine optimization, or SEO. So I know one of my friends that I graduated with in high school, I know her mother works at I think it is in Fort Park. I know that. It's like Welsh Realtors, I think it is. But yeah, if I do pronounce that company's name wrong, I do apologize. I think it's Workshire Realtors. But you get the point. So the real estate market and the professionals in the real estate market. So the real estate market refers to the buying and selling of properties, as well as the various services and activities to support these transactions. It includes the buyers, the sellers, the real estate agents, the brokers, the lenders, the appraisals, and the other professionals that are involved in the process. And how does the real estate market work? Well, basically, the real estate market works through supply and demand. Supply refers to the number of properties available to sale, while demand refers to the number of buyers looking to purchase a property. This basically goes back to intro to macro or microeconomics, if you think about it like that. When the supply is low and demand is high, price increase. And conversely, when the supply is high and demand is low, price decreases. And there are the types of real estate professionals, such as real estate agents, real estate brokers, property managers, appraisers, and inspectors. We're going to talk about property managers, appraisers, and inspectors first, because I'm going to touch on these two in more depth in just a little bit. So property managers are responsible for overseeing the daily operation of the rental properties, including managing leases, handling maintenance and repairs, and collecting rent. Property managers work with property owners to ensure the properties are well maintained and profitable. And then we have appraisers. Appraisers are licensed professionals who determine the value of the properties for various purposes, including buying and selling, refinancing, and tax assessments. Appraisers use a variety of methods to determine the value of a property, including market analysis, comparable sales, and property inspections, which segues onto our next professional, which is inspectors. Like, yeah, Inspector Gadget. Hope I don't get demonetized for singing the tune to it. So, so inspectors are professionals who assess the conditions of properties to identify any issues or potential problems. Inspectors typically work for buyers, sellers, or lenders and provide a detailed report on the condition of the property, including any necessary repairs or maintenance. All right, so let's now cover the two most popular types of real estate professionals, the agents and the brokers. The first one we're going to talk about is real estate agents. So real estate agents are licensed professionals, like, for example, in accounting, we have the CPAs, in finance, we have CFP, we have the CFA, as examples of what licensed professional is, who help buyers and sellers navigate the buying and selling process. They work with clients to help them find properties, negotiate deals, and finalize contracts. So what do real estate agents do? Well, more expanded now. They typically have a deep understanding of the local real estate market and can provide valuable insights to clients about property values, trends, and potential issues. They also handle many of the administrative tasks associated with buying and selling real estate, such as preparing contracts, scheduling inspections, and coordinating with other professionals involved in the transaction. And how much do these real estate agents pay? Well, basically, the real estate agents are typically paid on commission base. When a property is sold, the commission is split between the listing agent, who represents the seller, and the buyer's agent, who represents the buyer. The commission is usually a percentage of the sales price and can vary depending on the local market and other factors. The commission is paid by the seller and typically a significant amount of money. However, real estate agents are not paid until the property sale is finalized, which means they may work for months without any compensation if a property does not sell. So again, you are taking that risk, though, that if you do want to become a real estate agent, you are going to have to wait until the deal gets done to get paid out. So, real estate brokers. So real estate brokers are licensed professionals just like real estate agents. However, they oversee, unlike real estate agents, they oversee the real estate transactions and manage the real estate brokers. They typically have more experience in training than real estate agents and are responsible for ensuring compliance with the real estate laws and regulations. So what do the real estate brokers do? Well, to expand that, they work with both the buyer and seller, just like real estate agents. However, they oversee the work of the real estate agents and may provide additional training, support, and resources to help the agents succeed in their career. So basically, if you think about it, the agents is like the interns and the brokers are the boss. If you think about it like that, you should be fine. Real estate brokers may also be involved in more complex transactions, such as commercial real estate deals or high-end residential properties. They may provide additional services such as property management or investment analysis and may have expertise in specific niches of the real estate market. And let's just put this out of the way right now. The difference between both brokers and agents is the one thing I hope you guys take away from this presentation is the difference between both of them. Brokers often typically earn a higher commission than real estate agents. They may receive a percentage of the commission earned by the agents and the brokerage, as well as a share of any profits generated by the brokers. The main difference between these two is that brokers are licensed to oversee the real estate transactions and manage brokers, while agents are licensed to help clients buy and sell properties. Brokers must meet additional education and experience requirements, and they are responsible for ensuring that the agents and the brokers comply with real estate laws and regulations. All right, let's now talk about career paths in real estate. So we already talked about these already, but real estate agent, real estate broker, appraiser, investor, we already talked about that already, but property manager. Let's now talk about the other three that we really didn't talk about that much. Real estate development, or I think I don't have it here. Oh, I don't have it here. I'm sorry. I thought I had it here. I am sorry. I don't have it here. Okay. But I can't talk about one of these. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have all these. I am so sorry. I've just been all over the place today. So let's talk about real estate developer. A real estate developer is responsible for planning, designing, and overseeing the construction of new properties. They may work on residential or commercial projects and may specialize in specific types of property, such as, for example, office buildings or housing developments. We also have real estate attorney. A real estate attorney is a legal professional who specializes in real estate law. So basically a lawyer who specializes in real estate. They may provide advice on transactions, represent clients in court, and handle legal disputes related to real estate. And then we have a mortgage broker. A mortgage broker is a licensed professional who helps buyers obtain financing for a property. They work with lenders to find the best mortgage rates and terms for their clients. All right, so there is some education training to become a real estate agent or broker. Just like, for example, being a CPA or being a CFA or CFP, you do have to get trained. And I'm going to talk to you about how that works. So you have to do degree programs. So many universities offer bachelor's and master's degree programs in real estate. I know at FDU we do not offer that, but I might offer that to our Dean Pierre. So if you are watching this, I think we really should include real estate. So just saying. These programs cover such topics as real estate finance, investment analysis, and property development. Then your real estate licensing. Most states require individuals who work in real estate as agents, brokers, or appraisals to be licensed. To obtain a license, candidates must complete pre-licensing coursework, pass an exam, and fulfill other state-specific requirements. And again, if you want to know what NJ is, please go look that up because I do not want to give you guys the wrong info. I'm just saying this in general. Then you have professional certifications, which they offer certification for individuals working in the real estate field. These include the National Association of Realtors, which offers the CRS, which is Certified Residential Specialist, and the ABR, the Accredited Buyers Representatives designation. Then you have continuing education. See, just like the CPAs keep going with CPE, you basically have continuing education in real estate. Many states require licensed real estate professionals to complete continuing education courses to maintain a license. These courses cover topics such as ethics, which applies in all businesses, in finance, and wealth management, and accounting, even in real estate. It does apply. Fair housing laws and industry trends. And then finally, on-the-job training. Many real estate professionals receive on-the-job training through internships, mentorship programs, or entry-level positions. This allows them to gain practical experience and develop their skills in the field. So let's now talk about the laws and regulations of real estate. And there are 4 of them. Let's talk about all of these in depth. So we have federal laws and regulations. So basically these impact the real estate industry, including laws related to the Fair Housing, consumer protection, and financing. These laws include the Fair Housing Act, the FHA, the Truth in Lending Act, the TLA, and the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, the RESPA. Then we have the state and local laws and regulations. We did talk about a little bit about them already, but let me go more in depth now. These also impact the real estate industry as well, including laws related to property taxes, zoning, and landlord and tenant relationships. These laws vary state to state and locally. It can impact real estate transactions and property management. Then we have fair housing laws, which prohibit discrimination in housing based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability. These laws apply to all types of housing transactions, including buying, renting, and financing. And then finally, real estate disclosure laws, which are require sellers to disclose certain information about properties to the potential buyers, including any known defects, hazardous materials, or other issues that may affect the value or the safety of the property. And there are some key concepts and principles to learn about in real estate law, which I'm going to talk about all of them right now. So obviously we're going to talk about property rights. So they are the legal rights of individuals to use and control the real property. These rights include the rights to possess, use, transfer, and exclude others from the property. Mortgages. I'm not going to get ahead of here because we already talked about mortgages already. So again, I'm not going to talk about that again, but we'll talk about the other 3 contracts. I know we talked about that in one of our workshops during our spring break workshop spectacular, but I'm not going to talk about it in the context of real estate law. Real estate transactions are typically governed by contracts, which are outline the terms and conditions of the transaction. These contracts may include agreements between the buyer and sellers, as well as agreements between property owners and tenants. We also have deeds, which is a legal type of legal document that transfers ownership of a real property from one party to another. It typically includes a description of the property, the names of the parties involved, and any conditions of restriction on the transfer. And then disputes. Real estate disputes can arise from a variety of issues, such as, for example, if I could get my notes here to work here. We're almost at the end, guys. So we are almost at the end. So my notes want to work with it today. Including boundary disputes, contract disputes, and lanyard tenure disputes. These disputes may be resolved through negotiation, mediation, or litigation. All right, so let's talk about real estate technology. And just hold on just 1 second here. Sorry about that. A little bit of change of scenery here. We're back in the Bloomberg lab now. Going to finish up this workshop for you guys. So let's continue on with real estate technology. So there are multiple types of real estate technology that are out there. Let's talk about the ones that are actually interested to us. And we did talk about all of these in some way or form, but we'll be talking about more in depth. So we have smart homes and home automation. So smart home technology allows homeowners to control various aspects of their homes through mobile device like this, or voice activated assistant like Siri or Google Home or Alexa, Amazon Alexa. This technology includes smart thermostats, lighting, security systems, and appliances. So like, for example, anytime you come in this room, when the lights are off, they basically automatically come on when there's movement. That is technically an example of home automation or smart homes, you think about it. Even though it's not home, but you get the detail. So virtual augmented reality. So this relates to these next two related to the metaverse real estate. So virtual and augmented reality technology allows potential buyers to view properties remotely without physically visiting the property. This technology uses 3D modeling and advanced graphics to create an immersive experience that can help the buyers visualize the property. And then online real estate platforms. So online real estate platforms such as Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com allows buyers and sellers to search for the properties, view property information, and connect with real estate professionals. These platforms have become increasingly popular in recent years as more buyers and sellers turn to the internet for property searches. So let's talk about real estate sustainability. And there are three of them. So we have green building practices, sustainability, energy solutions, and climate change and real estate. All right, moving on. Real estate trends and the future outlook of real estate. So the current real estate trends are going on right now are basically one, the housing affordability challenges, which basically is a major dispute in many markets, especially in urban areas with high housing costs and limited supply. And the factors affecting housing affordability, including income levels, interest rates, zoning levels and laws, and construction costs. Technology and digitalization. So basically, this is rapidly changing the real estate industry with digital platforms and tools becoming increasingly popular for property searches, marketing, and management. Next one being sustainable and green build practices. So basically, they are becoming more common in the industry as buyers and investors seek environmentally friendly and sustainable properties. So like ESG investing, like we had Fleet Invest coming in the beginning of February, as they talk about ESG investing, that could also be considered, ESG real estate. Think about it. Remote work and flexible living. Yes, I have to mention this. I know I hate saying it, but again, I'm just going to say it. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to an increase in remote work and flexible living arrangements, with more people moving away from urban centers and into suburban rural areas. And then finally, demographic shifts. So demographic changes such as aging populations and changing household structures are also influencing the real estate industry. All right, so now the emerging real estate markets. So the emerging real estate markets such as secondary and tertiary cities, areas of improving infrastructures, and regions experiencing demographic shifts present investment opportunities for buyers and sellers in emerging real estate markets. And the future outlook for the real estate industry is positive. With continued growth and innovation expected, the industry is expected to continue adapting to changing market conditions and technology with a focus on sustainability and efficiency. However, economic and political uncertainties, as well as potential climate change impacts, may present challenges for the industry in the future. And there are some real estate opportunities out there, like, for example, new markets. And basically, real estate markets are constantly evolving every single day with new opportunities arising in emerging markets. These markets may be located in new geographical areas or may involve new types of properties, such as co-working spaces or micro apartments. Innovative technology. Technology is transforming the way real estate is bought and sold today with the emergence of virtual reality and augmented reality, or in simple terms, the metaverse real estate. Online property listings and digital marketing strategies. Those who are adept at using these technologies can gain a competitive advantage in the industry. Changing demographics. So the changing demographics such as aging baby boomers or the growth of the millennial population can create opportunities in real estate. For example, as more people retire, there may be an increased demand for senior living facilities. Sustainable design. and development is becoming an increasingly important topic in real estate as more buyers and tenants seek environmentally friendly properties. Those who are knowledgeable about sustainable design and green building practices can gain a competitive advantage in the market. And then finally, real estate finance, which is a growing field with opportunities for individuals who are skilled in finance and investment analysis. See, they're able to tie this in, actually tie in wealth management and real estate into one workshop. See, don't worry, I wasn't talking about nonsense here. We were talking about something that actually connects to each other. This includes roles such as mortgage underwriters, portfolio managers, and investment analysis. All right, so here are some resources for you guys. You guys want to learn more about real estate. So we have the National Association of Realtors, Realtor.com, Zillow, National Association of Real Estate Brokers, the Real Estate Education Association, the REA, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and the Real Estate Journal, which is a publication, which I think everyone should really subscribe to. If it's free, go get it. But again, I'm not going to explain all of these because, again, you guys can look at the speaker notes on slide 138 and view that because we are running out of time here. So to wrap all this up, in conclusion, real estate is an essential component of the economy and it plays a critical role in the lives of individuals and businesses. Key points discussed in this workshop include the types of real estate, the importance of real estate in the economy, residential, commercial, and industrial, and the types of real estate that are out there, real estate investment strategies, the market trends, the real estate professionals, like, for example, the agents and the brokers, real estate laws and regulations, the real estate technology, and real estate sustainability. Real estate is influenced by a variety of factors, including economic conditions, government policies, demographics, technologies, and environmental factors. It is important for real estate professionals and consumers to stay up to date on the latest trends and regulations, making informed decisions about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Whew. All right. So that is it for this meeting. Hope you guys enjoyed this workshop as much as I did because I had a lot of fun working on this one because I thought, and I even told my e-board, I'm like, you know, let me do this one. I think it'll be an awesome one to work on. And I learned a lot about real estate on this one. And maybe I might want to do real estate as my side hustle. You never know. All right. So you guys are going to get this entire workshop next on Sunday during our next weekly email we give you guys. So be on the lookout for that. Next meeting will be tomorrow in Mansion Room 13, Dickinson Hall, room 70, Zoom, and our WMA Club social because we are bringing in, oh my gosh, I cannot believe tomorrow is the day. We are bringing back a legend, the OG president, the man that started this club from the very beginning. Alex Trakovic will be coming back to the WMA Club for the first time in over 3 years to speak to us as he's representing JP Morgan Chase & Co. So again, that will be at 6 p.m. in Mansion Room 13, Dickinson Hall, room 70, on the Metro campus, Zoom, and WMA Club socials as well. So with that being said, that is all for this meeting. Until tomorrow, this is Jack Mitchell saying so long. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Target.